What's up, everyone? Today we got Miss Loree Bischoff. She's the founder and creator of Teen Life Coaching Course. Now, this is a course that kind of teaches young adults different things between communication skills, health, how to gain some values and morals as an individual. And by the end of it, they kind of make a self constitution. Now, during the interview, man, we're going over everything from aggressive communication. We're getting into how to build a habit of health around your family. We got things about communication. We touch on kind of the little bit of the messed up world we're living in right now when it comes to the way we're able to communicate with each other. Beth, what else am I missing here? It was a great
It
conversation.
was great. We talked about how to demonstrate good health habits as a family, how to work on them with your kids, as well as communication tips and how to work on if you struggle with aggressive communication. I loved it. It was awesome.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. Hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you inside. All righty. Hello, everyone. So today we have a super fun conversation we're about to have. Ms. Lori, if you could just give the people a little background on yourself, what you do, and just anything that for someone that doesn't know who you are, they can kind of get a little welcome with you.
All right. Well, again, my name is Loree Bischoff. I have been a life coach and a holistic health coach for over 17 years. So that has been my main focus lately, I guess over the past not quite 2 decades. I am very happily married. We've been married for 41 years.
Wow.
So that's been the adventure of a lifetime in all the best ways. Uh, and we have two now adult children who are amazing human beings. So I've had the privilege of being a mom and having a great partner to do this adventure of life with. And yeah, so I've been focusing, once our kids were old enough to do their thing and I was done being primarily a stay-at-home mom, I went, all right, well, what's next for me? And that ultimately ended up to be coaching, which was awesome since I always wanted to be like a psychologist or a therapist or a counselor when I was in school, except I refused to go to college. I hated school every day of my life. So that was off the table. Fast forward to, hey, there's this thing called life coaching. I can check that box without having to do all the things that you would have
Yes,
had to do,
ma'am.
many decades ago. So that's essentially what brought me to where I am now.
So where it's the Teen Life Coaching is what it's
Mhm.
called, correct? So how long have you actually been offering that coaching service for?
Yeah, so that came about right after COVID hit.
Okay.
I'm sure that you've heard a lot of stories of people that made changes with regarding their kids in school
Yes, ma'am.
when COVID hit. And even though I don't have kids at home, I really care about, and I'm critically, alarmingly concerned about the youth in our country. And when that happened, and I became aware of even more of what was going on because the curtain was pulled back,
Yeah.
right? I was like, this is nuts. How do we do something? How do we use our skills as coaches to offer something to help these guys? They need something more than what the educational system is offering them. Um, so I actually it got kicked off because a colleague of mine reached out and said, "Hey, I have
Okay.
this idea for coaching teens, and are you interested in collaborating with me on creating something?" I said, 100%. It's been on my mind for a long time, actually. Even when I was training as a coach, I thought, why aren't these things available? Why aren't we teaching these things to high school kids? These are not rocket scientist kind of, it's like it's just learning how to understand yourself mostly, right? So
Yes.
so anyway, that had been a long time thing, I've been noodling. And so I said, yeah, I'm all in. So we created this course initially as a live group coaching initiative. And we did a beta test with that, with a cobbled together a small group of kids. And then we realized this is completely impractical. This is not going to work because You can't even get two people to get their schedules aligned, let alone a group of teenagers. Oh, is everybody going to be free to jump online on Saturday at 2?
Yep.
Probably not, right? So we realized this is impractical. So we retooled it to not be a live, show up and attend thing. Instead, it's going to be a built out 7 module self-paced course that you can do at your own pace when you're in the mood, and you can either do it online and follow along with the videos, or if you don't want to be on devices that much, you can get hard copies and do it the
Oh, really?
old-fashioned way.
Okay. Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
which is great for homeschooling parents because a lot of parents now are like, we don't want our kids on devices anymore than necessary. It's
Yep.
already overload. And especially when COVID hit and they were doing their entire school days online. So it was like,
Yes, ma'am.
we have to offer something that is more old-fashioned, pen and paper. Yeah, so that's available too.
Okay, yeah, and I honestly, I'm the type of person where I learn better with pen and paper. Like even if it's writing my to-do list, I've
Yep.
tried doing it on my notes. It does not work nearly as good for me as in the morning after I work out, sit down, write what I need to get going, and then for some reason stay more accountable if it's on
Yeah,
pen and paper.
me
Can
too.
you just give us like a big picture of what the course is, kind of what you guys do with it, and then we'll kind of dive more deep into it. But for now, just like a big overview.
Sure, sure. So, what we wanted to do was give enough so that they could really grasp the idea of understanding themselves, how much power and control they have over their own life without overloading them with, just too much to be
Mhm.
confusing. So we picked 7 general areas, health, mindset, motivation, goals, relationships. And, there's the very first module is literally entitled You. It's just like understanding your own sense of self-worth, self-esteem, self-confidence. And then we kind of build from there until you get through. It's really different aspects of mindset and understanding oneself,
Okay.
right? And then by the end of the course, you are guided, you go through, creating a value system,
Love
uploading
that.
character traits, so that at the end, you're guided then to create literally a personal constitution so that
Wow.
by the time you're done, you have gone through the 7 modules. There's, interactive exercises, and then there's a section at the end of each module for like 3 main takeaways. And that way, by the end, you can either create your own personal constitution based on your overall understanding, what you've learned, or you can even just put it together using your takeaways from each module. So depending on the type of learner you are, you get to put it together. You get to be in charge of yourself and what you learned and what you're taking away, and you have this framework then to move forward with. So the idea is you've developed some essential meta skills so that once you are no longer a high schooler and you're ready to go off to the next phase of life, whether it's just getting a part-time job or going to college or stepping into the family business, whatever it is, you've got a fundamental understanding of how to manage yourself, your behavior, your emotions, your attitude, your overall state of being.
No, that's amazing too, especially at that age where kids are still coming into themselves. It at least gives them the guidance and like that, I guess ethos maybe is the word for it, where they can understand when they come into maybe a situation that is on that borderline, they have something to refer back to, whether it's
Mhm.
consciously or subconsciously, and allow them to make the decisions for what they truly believe they are and where they want to go. So I think that's absolutely an amazing concept. But when it comes to the actual like interactive? Are you guys doing tests or are they just doing like self assignments? What does that kind of look like?
Right. So there's what I like to refer to them as exercises. So each module has has some exercises, some more than others, pertaining to, what the material in that module. And my view is, look, it's not like a test. There's no wrong answer because it's all about you. It's all
Yep.
about what are you thinking? What are you feeling? What is your takeaway? What would you do in this scenario? So there isn't a wrong. The only way you can fail is if you just don't do it, right? But if you just do it and do your best, the idea is we're planting really good seeds.
Yep.
If you're a teenager, some of these seeds are gonna maybe give you a little bit of an aha, and depending on your personality and your environment and everything, and you're gonna be like, oh, I can use this. This is a tool I can use now. But a lot of teenagers, you're in a weird place when you're a teen, right? And
Yes, ma'am.
you think you know a lot more than you do, but at the same time, you have very little confidence in a lot of things. You're all over the map. So it's like we're planting good seeds, and some of those seeds hopefully are going to sprout now sooner than later, and some may not, come to fruition for a couple years, and then they'll find themselves in a situation where they may go, I remember learning about this in
Yep.
the course. I remember what it said, and maybe they'll be able to pull up or refer back to those resources to help them with their decisions.
So our nonprofit, we kind of focus on four pillars. So it's education, communication, finances, and health. And it seems like what you guys are talking about kind of falls under that same umbrella. What
Hmm.
would you say are like the most important like life skills that kind of that teen when they're in that awkward stage need to
Hmm.
learn before moving on? Because like you said, me, when I was 19, 20 years old, I thought I knew everything. No one could tell me to do anything. I knew the right answer. I knew what I was gonna do. Looking back now, 9 years later, it's like, okay, I don't think I was as smart as I thought I was. So what are some
Yeah.
like essential life skills for the teens and the homeschooling parents that we're talking to right now to maybe
Mhm.
zone in on to help them when they get to that stage?
Sure. I am a big proponent because I think it's foundational to everything is health,
Mm, love it.
right? I think if because everything is built on it, right? And if you ignore cultivating good health habits, it's like now you're building a house on sand, right? It's everything is vulnerable to collapse if the foundation is weak and unstable. And I don't think most adults, let alone teenagers, understand that we're not just talking about, you know, eating a healthy diet, because almost nobody knows what that is, and exercising, but understanding those things, learning what really that is, what constitutes a healthy diet, what constitutes, enough physical activity so that, you're feeding your body, um,
Hmm.
because all of those things affect your ability to think,
Yes, ma'am.
right? And if you are not eating healthy most of the time and doing some sort of physical activity most of the time, it doesn't have to be extreme. You don't have to be a marathon runner, right, or a triathlete, but you got to do something because those things are generating what your brain needs to think
Yep.
clearly, to think critically, to function properly, optimally, and you're also then generating all of the good hormones that are making you feel good, feel happy, feel a sense of connection. So health to me is critically important. It's foundational to everything.
And
Um,
before, hang on, I'm just going to interrupt real
yeah,
quick before we move on
yeah,
past that. I like to say also with that, it's people have these big dreams for what they want to do for their careers, all these things they want to build, but they can't control themselves.
mhm.
First, it's kind of hard to go off and do it. You're not going to be able to stay committed to your goals when it comes to business if you can't stay committed to just at least at the bare minimum, hey, go for a walk once a day. You know what I mean? So it's
Right,
for me, like I said, it's the foundation. And the more you learn to control yourself, the more you can learn to start controlling the outer situations you're coming into. I'm sorry for
exactly.
interrupting there, but you can keep.
No, that's perfect. I'm so glad you said that because it's really learning to live your life. This is a big concept. It could be, its own whole episode, but essentially, you're learning to how to live your life from the inside out
Hmm.
rather from the outside in. And, health is just like the key metric right there, because when you have that, your version of healthy as part of your lifestyle, that is going to support your sense of self-worth, your sense of self-respect, because you're treating your body at least better than you
Right.
treat your car or your house or your dog, right? I mean, not that you shouldn't treat your dog well, but right, most people are treating these other things. They're taking better care of these
Yes,
outer
ma'am.
things than they are themselves. So, when you're able to do that, it's very empowering, and it inspires you to really take ownership over your life and your behavior and your decisions. So it's literally the opposite. It protects you from falling into having a victim mindset.
Yes, which is a huge, huge, I think, illness that our country faces right now.
100%.
It's just something that, and like you said, it's if you can become committed to yourself, at the end of the day, you at least know you're treating yourself with respect. You know what I mean? You can have higher values. It's just for me, I think, like I said, it's essential. So, what are some other ones? Do you think?
Yeah. Yeah. So health is number one. Communication, clearly, which is really devolved
Yes.
in every sense, from literally the top politicians filtered all the way down to right the kids who cannot communicate, make eye contact when they're trying to get a job. I mean, it's frightening.
It's very frightening.
It is. It's not good. So communication is important. I mean, it's language, right? I mean, we use language to interact with others and have meaningful conversations and be able to collaborate and create with each other, to express ourselves maturely,
Yep.
logically, right? So communication is big. It's it's but I think about, I'm sorry, but my mind keeps going to an employee that my daughter recently had in a business she launched just about 6 months ago. And I'll tell you what, the things I'm hearing from her and others and things I read about where a lot of these younger people just, they're crippled.
It's bad. And I'll tell you because my brother and I, so we run a marine service business. So we work on yachts and boats. And when we hire younger individuals, we have now a system like no matter who they are, where they come from, you first learn how to shake a hand. You then learn how to make eye contact. You learn how to give a compliment when you walk into somebody's backyard. Just little simple things.
Awesome.
And it's because we had these kids coming in and they were referrers from some of our other employees, and when we met them they were joking around. Then they go behind this billionaire's house and they're just looking at the ground. He's trying to talk to them, and I was just like, what's going on? And it's like you said, it's kind of a
Hmm.
it's a weird phenomenon that we're in, because really when you think about communication has been in every society. People have always been communicating, talking. For some reason nowadays, it's like the most scariest thing to have a conversation face to face with someone. So I love that you guys are focusing on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to be able to have not only just command of yourself, but you have got to have enough understanding of how you are presenting yourself in the world, and the impression you're giving people, because in your heart, everyone wants to have their idea of happiness and
Yep.
success, and be able to get what they're going after. But if you don't have some of these fundamentals down, which they don't, you are just handicapped right out the gate.
You really are.
Yeah, and I feel bad because they're clueless. I don't know who's dropping balls, if it's this gentle parenting or if it's the social media or, everything all mixed in at once. But yeah, it's like a pandemic of a different sort, right?
It is. And it's for me, I think it has a little bit to do with the social media. I think it has I'm gonna actually rephrase. I think it has a lot to do with the social
I do too.
media.
I do too.
Because even like my friends now, some of them who are still single trying to like find a girlfriend, whatever, I've always been super just outgoing. Like it was something I was just blessed with.
No.
If I saw a pretty girl, I would just walk over and say hello. You know what I mean? But my
Yeah.
friends, they're dealing with like they would rather go to Instagram, find their Instagram, and DM them on Instagram. Like, dude, you see this girl every day. Like, don't, that
Right.
just go say hello. But they're more confident talking through a screen. I don't know if it's like the fear of rejection or something, but it applies. If you can't even do that, how are you going to walk into somebody's business and try to become like a high paid asset or high valued asset in the company if
Right.
you're not confident just going in there and having a little bit of faith in yourself and understand like, hey, if you get a no, you still are in the same situation that is if you didn't try at all. Not trying at all is going to get you a no every time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I think it's a lot to do with the social media, but I
Here.
think it's also, I think it has to do with the way society connects with each other right now too. You know what I mean? I think like you have this where you have this fear of this person's not going to accept me, this person's going to laugh at me, and if you, we just got to get back to just being like, hey, like I'm
Yeah.
perfect the way I am. I can always be better. And if someone doesn't like me, then so be it. It is what it is. My life is still going to be fine with or without it, you know? So, I
Sure.
mean, I don't know if you can like maybe give the parents some tips if their kid is maybe shy or something like that. But I feel like there is a pandemic, and the less we can communicate, the less problems we're going to solve as a country. You know what I mean? Like, it is something that if you can't communicate with your wife or your husband inside of a relationship, there's going to be built up tension. If you can't communicate with your boss that, hey, this, I don't like how this is going, or this is what I want for my life, you're never going to get to the spots you want to go. You know, so for me,
Yeah.
I think communication is just ultra important. So if you
Yeah.
can maybe just give us maybe a little like tidbit or something that,
Sure, sure. Yeah. First of all, I think the whole social media thing has given everyone, and our youth are the most impressionable, the um, it's a comparison trap.
mm,
When we talk about that, there's a section in the course that talks about getting caught in the comparison trap. What do they say? The comparison is the thief of joy,
joy. Yes, ma'am.
right? Right. So, so what's happening is people, youth, are trying to measure themselves against all kinds of falseness.
It's exactly what it is. Falseness. You're right.
Falseness all day, every day. I mean, there are a few authentic things out there, but you have literally a barrage of falseness and highlight reels and people creating perceptions.
Mm,
Everyone's trying to create a perception. They want they want everyone to see them and think about them in a very crafted way. It's very manipulative. And it's based on falseness because nobody has a
yep.
perfect life, especially young people still
Exactly.
tripping through life trying to figure out what's up and what's down, right? So that's a very sad state of affairs because when you're young and impressionable, you believe, oh, that person has it all. That person looks better than me. That person is beautiful, brilliant. They have every,
Yep.
and the false beliefs are planted. And now you feel, how can I possibly measure up to that? So you're measuring yourself against something that's basically blatant lies, if you
Yep.
really want to call it out. Most of it is not true, um, or it's incomplete. You don't see most people's messiness.
No, they show the highlight reel, like you said.
Exactly. And if you do see somebody's messiness, it's not the kind of messiness that helps anyone. It's the I'm a victim messy, poor me.
Mm, yes.
Not
Yes.
good either, right? So you've got one extreme or the other, and there's very little like solid, healthy things to impress upon our youth that they're getting in their algorithms, right? So it's got to start at home. You have got to, I think, really take control of how you're going to counter this with your kids because you can't make it stop. You can't
Yep.
block it unless you're literally going to, isolate them, which obviously is not a good idea. They have to, it's about teaching them how to manage themselves in the environment that we're in. I think as parents, first of all, yeah, demonstrating mature, thoughtful, kind, but honest communication at
Yep.
home,
Yep.
right? That's ground level one right there. You have to demonstrate it because they are learning how to communicate or not communicate based on what they're watching you do and
Yep.
not. So that's, it's the whole thing, not what I, say. And it's they're watching what you do. They're not listening to what you say.
Yeah, I think they say something like kids, it's like caught more than it's taught. So like they're what they're observing and stuff is actually going to go further than what they're being preached to about.
Exactly. Exactly. So you need to be really aware of that as parents. And then I think you need to expose your kids to enough variety of social situations so that they can learn.
Mm-hmm.
When we were bringing up our kids, which was in the mid 80s, uh, my husband traveled a fair amount, and so when they were young, we would go with him a lot, and they were exposed to being around adults a lot, and they were taught how to shake hands, say nice to meet you, right? And to be respectful, to not be afraid of human interaction. It's it's normal. It's good. Human action interaction is it's fundamental to our ability to feel truly connected, not falsely connected,
Yes, ma'am.
right? And so putting your going, as a family, even if it's like family gatherings, so that they're just get accustomed to being comfortable around other people and they can practice manners, teaching them manners,
Yep.
like you talk about. It's it's just it's so fundamental, but all these fundamental basic things are just
Lost.
yeah, they're just like leapfrogging right over them all and thinking, well, I'm alive and I'm now 18. I should be able to get a job paying me six figures pretty soon because I'm just here.
I just showed up.
I just showed up. And I'm breathing. But I think yes, it has to start with the parents. And I think the more that you can put them in situations to demonstrate to them, to teach them, and then give them an opportunity to practice what you're teaching is just the fundamental things that builds some self-confidence in them.
And something I would like if you could maybe expand on is so we know there's if you take my brother, he is the opposite of me. You know what I mean? I am going to be the guy who's just talking to a wall. My brother's very calm, very like stern, very mature, but he can interact just the same with our customers as I can. Now we communicate differently. Like
Sure.
I'm gonna be chatting the dude's ear off. My brother's gonna be straightforward with them, but he still can connect with people and have good, meaningful conversations. So can you kind of just touch on the importance of like maybe not trying to make your kid this super extrovert if they're an introvert, and
Correct.
understanding that you just have to be confident in who you are and just do have those fundamentals down packed so you can connect because everyone's different. You know what I mean? So I don't think
Yeah.
we should try to change the kids, but maybe just touch to the parents of like, hey, if your kid's this way, it doesn't necessarily mean he's bad as long as he can still have those fundamentals down packed.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great point. A great point because chances are your kids are going to be, they're not going to be right clones of each other. Even if they're twins, they're going
Yep.
to have some different character traits, right? And yeah, some are going to be naturally more extroverted, some will be naturally more introverted. So as the parent, you know your kids pretty well. And so your job is to help them become that best version of who they are,
Love that.
not try to reshape and mold them to be more like so and so or more like
Yep.
this character or, whatever. So the basics can still be, some of the things we've talked about, those can still all be learned, but they may have different learning, ways of learning those skills.
Hmm.
They have different, and so you just need to honor those, and as a teenager, especially, um, it's going to help them learn to understand themselves. but wait, why am I feel like I need to try to do this way because that's how that person does it. Well, no, you don't. You don't have to try to learn that way because that's how that person does it. You still maybe need to learn this, but what's the way you think you can learn it? How creative can we get for you to be able to, get a hold of this, whatever the teaching is, whatever the learning
Mhm.
is, and coming at it from an angle. Help them get curious about how they can get creative to learn some of the things that are important for them to learn. Does that
I
make sense?
love that. No, it does make sense. And also, like, we talk to homeschooling parents. That's who the audience is here. And it's one of the benefits we do have because I like to say, like, you have these 8 hours in a day, go out into society and get real world reps because then you really can
Mhm.
see your son or daughter interact with this stranger. And then you can just give not like nitpick them like, oh, you know what I mean, but you have real life feedback that you're able to just constantly be around. And also
Mhm.
as a former homeschooler myself, I never really cared what age group I was talking. It was all just because I was always surrounded in society. And then when my friends got out of prison, as I like to call it, they would come back. But during the day, I was around adults all the time. In the evenings, I was hanging out with my friends. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's something that you can learn. If your kid's a little more introverted, he can still have a good conversation. And if your other
Yeah.
one's more extroverted, let him go off the wall a little bit and then maybe
Right.
teach him to dial it back some. That's what I had to learn. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
everyone wants to know everything about you. So,
Exactly. Exactly. Being authentic doesn't mean you throw up your whole life on everyone.
exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, I get that. I mean, our kids, our son, who's 18 months older than our daughter, so he was like, from the time he was little, could barely walk. Once he learned to walk, he turned into Ferris Bueller. Like
Yeah.
everybody knows him, everybody loves him. That's our son. Ferris Bueller, extrovert, just all day long. Um, he's got a guy for anything you need. I mean,
Yeah.
very charismatic that way. Our daughter is very introverted. Neat, just if I want to interact with you, I will. And
Yep.
she's very intelligent as well, but she's very selective, and she's not like she's social, but she's
Yep.
not a social animal. It doesn't feed her.
Mm.
It's something she does with her, she can be social with friends and people and family, but when she's done. She'll just, slink off to her room or to wherever, right? Whereas it feeds my son. So learning to recognize what drains your kids and what feeds your kids will help you go, okay, this one's maxed out in this particular circumstance or environment right now. They need to shift gears. They need to be in a different state because
Mm.
that's better for them. This one is firing up. So
Yep.
keep that going. So just understanding those differences and then how do I support that? Because it's not, you're right, it's never bad. You never want to say that there's anything bad about your kid. It's just right. It's just what is serving them the best and how
Yes,
do
ma'am.
I help do that?
Hmm. Now, I kind of want to go back to the health if we can, real quick,
Mhm.
just because we did like a real deep dive with communication there. So, when it comes to living a healthy lifestyle, right? What do you think is most important for the teens? I know we talked a little bit about like nutrition, but if we
Mhm.
could just go a little bit deeper to just give maybe if there's a kid watching with the parents, or if there's a parent who just doesn't have maybe the most healthiest lifestyle, they're on their own journey right now. What would like be the fundamentals of having that healthy lifestyle?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great question. Because we're back to what are you demonstrating to them? So,
Okay.
right? So if you're just getting started, let's say to your example, maybe you're a parent and you're like, I've been neglecting this, I need to get started. So if you've got kids at home, especially you're homeschooling parents, so you're around each other, all
All
pretty much
day.
all day, every day, right? So take them with you.
I
Take
love
them
that.
on the journey
I
with
love
you.
that.
Okay, family meeting. I'm mom or I'm dad or I'm both. this is what I'm committing to doing. I realize that I have been dropping the ball in these
Mhm.
couple areas with my health. So here's how I'm going to start. Have your plan, have a strategy. And if you don't have a plan or a strategy, bring them into the fold and let's say, let's brainstorm. Let's do this together. You can say, hey, mom, did you do your whatever today? Did you do
Yep.
your squats? Did you do your push-ups? If you're just doing it at home, if you're
Hmm.
going to the gym, maybe you can get a family membership and the family goes. When our kids were young again, my husband got a membership to a gym, which I was not happy about at the time because I I had never stepped foot in a gym at that point in my life. I was like, 25 or something. But I was always active. But
Hmm.
so it was like, oh, this is like going to China for me. I can't read this. What is this? What is this piece of equipment, right? It was foreign. But fast forward to, well, now he's spent the money and he's committed. I have to go, right?
Hmm.
They had a daycare there. They also offered karate classes there. So started going to the gym. Kids come along with to the gym. Now what have I done? First of all, we've already planted the seeds that this is normal part of the lifestyle. You go to
Mm.
the gym, or you exercise.
Yes, ma'am.
When they were young, they went into the daycare so that even though they weren't doing anything in the gym, but they were seeing mom, this is what mom and or dad do. This is what you do. Just like every morning you get up, you brush your teeth. This is just
Mhm.
what you do. And
Part of
then,
life.
yeah, yeah, this is part of life. This is the lifestyle. And so then when they're a little older, then our son was able to start karate classes there. So little one's still in daycare, mom's in the gym, dad, son's in karate class. And so now, fast forward, so that continues throughout life, right?
Yep.
Then they're in school and they're doing their thing, but our son continued karate throughout his life until he got his black belt. Our daughter went into dance and cheerleading, and she danced her whole, all of that. Now fast forward to their 40 and 41. Our daughter's a marathon runner.
Wow.
She's running in the Boston Marathon this April.
No
She
way.
finally made it. Yeah, and she works out at home with weights, just does that in addition to her running. And our son is, in the gym 3 days a week. He's fit and strong, and
Hmm.
so that's just what you do. And so we started demonstrating that ourselves when they were little, and then it just became part of their lifestyle in their own way as well. So demonstrating and bringing them along with you as a parent is great. And if you're just getting started, making them feel like they're contributing to what's the plan.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Now when it comes,
David, am I allowed to interrupt?
I've been telling you to interrupt me. Go right ahead.
He told me last time after we finished an interview he was going to get mad if I didn't ask questions.
Oh, all right. Ask away, Beth.
Well, I just wanted to say I really appreciated what you shared about communication. I got my bachelor's degree in communication, and that was really, really interesting, and I really like that as well. Have you had any homeschooling families take your course as an elective? That's immediately what went off in my brain. That I know some families are required to take an elective depending on what state they're in, so I definitely think it would be a good fit. So I was just curious if you've had any.
Yeah, we're still it took a few years to get the entire course put together. So we're literally still in early marketing stages.
Okay.
Mhm.
But I've been working on, there are a lot of states. The answer to your question is yes, a few,
Okay.
yes. But we're working on building it. We're working on the states that have ESA programs that
Oh,
will, will allow the course in.
yeah,
So
that's
I've
great.
got several of them set up, and that's available now in several states.
That's great.
And yeah, so we're working on that. And yes, that's the whole idea, is this is not meant to replace your curriculum of,
Yeah.
the fundamentals. This
Hmm.
is meant to be such an awesome elective that isn't
Hmm.
covered by anything else, because it's the only course likely that your kid, whether they're in public school or homeschooling, because even
Hmm.
homeschoolers, they have to get a curriculum from somewhere.
That's
This is
right.
the only course that's going to be 100% about your kid. It's
Mm.
100% about them. It's not other information that, is readily available, science, math, and reading and language, all those things that, yeah, they need those. But the psychology of who am I and
Mm-hmm.
what's possible for me, that is
Yeah.
sorely missing. So we're trying to bridge that gap
Yeah.
with the course.
That's great. And then my follow-up thing was your everything you were talking about how if they want to take the course and then they look into their mindset, their personality, it was making me think about how we're seeing a lot of young people go through like an identity crisis. You know, we have bullying, we have these school shootings. I just feel like a lot of young people are really struggling. And then also I feel like too, a lot of them are very aggressive. I've communicated well, and this also can be adults as well, but I feel like
Mhm.
I'm seeing a big trend with aggressive communication, and I pick up on this stuff because of my degree. I just notice these things. And between, I would say it would be from, and I don't want to generalize because I think most people can have, weak moments. I can and communicate aggressively, but I would see a big trend between ages 35 to probably 14 or 15 where I'm seeing this aggressive communication where they're just negative, mean to the other person, mean to adults. There's no respect.
Yeah.
Or, they might be an adult themselves, but they're still talking aggressively to people who would be their elders. There's no
Hmm.
like I guess generational respect you can call it. So I
Yeah.
guess if a parent is struggling, and I'm seeing a lot of this too with parents I'm in some homeschool Facebook groups, and this is a big trend with their kids. Like if they pull them out of public school, they're trying to make the switch, and these kids are struggling with this. So I guess what I'm trying to ask is how would you suggest parents work on this aggressive communication with their kids?
That's a great question. That's big.
Sorry, that was a lot that I just threw at
That
you.
was beautiful. That was beautiful, Miss
Yeah.
Beth.
Yeah, that was
Thank you.
awesome, Beth.
Thank you.
Um, so first of all, there is a section in the course where we address bullying, just to help
Yes.
give a more well-rounded understanding of why
Mm-hmm.
people resort to bullying and
Mm-hmm.
ways you might be able to handle it. Um, so there's that. And yeah, we had touched earlier on respect going on, and again, that has been allowed. That starts at home. I don't care what you
Mm-hmm.
say, that starts at home. If you have not taught your kids what respect is, what it means, and when it's appropriate, then how are they supposed to know
Mm-hmm.
how to wield it when they go out into
Yeah.
the right? So that's incumbent upon the parents to understand, are they not treating each other with respect? What are they
Mm-hmm.
demonstrating? I mean, I see people all the time, couples, married couples, and they have lost the, I don't know, willingness or desire or habit, but they no longer talk to each other like they're the most precious person next to the kid
Mm,
in the world to them. And
Yep.
it's simple things. It's like, thank you, honey. Thanks for doing.
yeah.
How can I
Mm-hmm.
help you? Do you need
Mm-hmm.
anything from me? It's simple. It's again, just manners, like acknowledging,
Mm-hmm.
And so if your kids aren't seeing that but at home between you,
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't be surprised when
Yeah.
they're not behaving the way you would like them to out
Mm-hmm.
into the world. Um, the aggressiveness is nasty. The aggressiveness is, I think, a combination of fear.
Mm,
If there's fear, when people are in a state of fear,
mm-hmm.
it comes out in in a lot of different ways, and one of those ways is anger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And one of those, so anger maybe can be a result of, well, things just aren't going the way I think they should go. So now
Mm-hmm.
I'm pissed because I don't manage my
Yeah.
emotions. Um, Angry
Mm-hmm.
because, oh, you made me angry. So there's another fallacy because they don't
Yep.
know that nobody can really make you feel
Nope.
anything. That's you. That's you
Yep.
Yep.
agreeing, right?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
So
ma'am.
so there's that. There can
Yeah.
be fear of the a lot of times the anger is a replacement for my feelings are hurt. So when
Mm,
somebody's feelings get hurt, rather
mm-hmm.
than, especially with guys, um, you don't want to show that your feelings are hurt because it looks weak, right? People
Hmm.
don't
Hmm.
want to look weak. So
Yeah.
rather than being like, wow, that really hurt, it's deflected and it's turned
Yeah.
morphed into anger. And
Hmm.
that's how they're going to try to deal with that, right?
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
that kind of aggressiveness. And then I think depending on the environment that you're in, the aggressiveness can also be, especially like in the public school systems, a way of protecting yourself. Like
Mm.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
create this perception that I'm a badass, so nobody
Hmm.
messes with me.
Hmm.
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 So it
Yeah.
kind of depends, right? I think a lot of it depends on those types of circumstances.
Yeah.
Uh, so we come back to what are you guys talking about at home? How much
Hmm.
does your most people it's why I really go into in the course a lot about emotions, understanding your emotions and
Hmm.
where they come from. Because
Yeah.
most people think other people cause them to feel certain ways
Hmm. Hmm.
backwards. So if you are going to allow yourself to react and feel certain ways based on what other people say or do, then now you're like a puppet. They're going to push, people will push your buttons all day, every day, and then you're going to feel like a victim. And it's just this
Hmm.
domino effect, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and this is work I have to do with clients all the time because people just haven't, done the deep dive into why why does this happen to me? Why do I
Hmm.
feel this way? They don't know where their emotions come from. They don't realize that their thoughts and beliefs are really generating
Yeah.
patterns. It's a pattern of emotions.
Hmm.
They don't realize their perspective and the meaning that they're applying to
Hmm.
things are generating the thoughts that then generate the emotions. So all of those things that people are kind of
Yeah.
slaves to the reactions, slaves to the emotions, and they're just ping-ponging all over the place in reactive mode. They don't realize this is all something that they are subconsciously just doing. It's a pattern of behavior.
Hmm.
And once they see that there's a different way to do this and they start to practice a new pattern, excuse me, in a new way of understanding how to manage their emotions, now you level up. Now you have a greater sense of control over your life because now you can control what you're going to think, believe, and feel. That's freedom.
Yeah. That's
You're
great.
not a slave to anybody else's nonsense. You're not a slave to your own crazy emotions that you've let run wild. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? You
Yep.
now are in the driver's seat instead of the passenger seat.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We go into that in the course because I think
Hmm.
that's such an important, fundamentally important tool that everyone should know and understand. And teenagers are, they're perfectly capable of grasping these concepts.
Yeah, especially because they're younger too. They'll pick it up faster. It'll be easier to manage and learn. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Yeah, go ahead, David. It's your turn now.
Oh,
But
thank you, Miss Beth. Just real quick, you said something. So, if let's say some parents come and they get into the course, they start doing the class. Do you guys have like a community behind it of aspects to where if they have questions, are they able to reach out to you guys? If a kid or a parent has questions, is how all does that course work? So, if there's any parents interested, they can kind of get a good understanding of what they're gonna get with it.
yeah, so that's a great question too. And the answer is I'm working on it, David.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, because it's taken so long just to get to the point where we're at. Um, and I'll be honest with you, I am not a fan of social media, so this is my work. It's like a necessary, thing, a tool.
Uh-huh.
You have a product or a service. So I literally just before the holidays started building the Facebook page for
Okay.
TLC course so that we can have an available community there for people to interact and for, to have contact with me and my colleague. And I haven't launched it yet because I do want to put a few things in there. I got it started right before holidays, and now that we're past that, I'll be finishing it up so that it will be available. So the
Roger
answer
that.
is not yet, but coming soon.
I like it. I like it.
Yes.
And then roughly, it's self-paced, but let's say if a family got started and they just stay committed on it, how long do you think it is? Like, I know you said it's self-paced, so they can take forever long as they want. But like, let's say a family's real committed onto it, how long about do you think the course is?
Yeah. So the course, if you were to just literally go through on a daily basis, nonstop, I mean, I guess, everybody's got a different pace, and how long is it going to take you to go through the exercises? But I think that if somebody is doing the course, so if it's all together, the information being delivered. So let me start here. If you were to just watch all the videos of the course, basically me reading the course to you. So if you're not
Uh-huh.
a strong reader, you can watch and listen.
Oh, that's great.
That would be just to do that without the exercises would be, I think it came out to be like 32 hours
Oh,
of
okay. Nice,
delivery.
nice.
Now, if you are going to then, pause here, as I'll tell you
Mhm.
now, pause here, do the exercise, and I'll meet you in the next session, kind of thing. Then, I don't know, you're going to do the exercise in 10 minutes, or you're going to do it tomorrow, or you're going to do it next week. So, like you said, there's a big variable there. But I think if a person just said, a teenager was going to be like, I'm going to devote, 3 days a week for an hour on the course. You can get through that course if you want to you could get through it in 3 weeks if you wanted to, or you could take your time and really think and ponder and stretch it out to 3 months, or like you say, you could stretch it out to a year. But
Yep.
it obviously, I think it would be beneficial to kind of set a somewhat of a schedule, a framework, so that you
Yep.
go, all right, I'm going to start here, and my goal is to finish, in 60 days, which means I want to do, X amount of hours a week.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, yeah, just so that you keep your momentum going.
Yeah.
It's really important to have the momentum because things kind of, build on each other. And so I think a person would get more out of it if it can be a regular part of their studies.
Okay, so then with that, and I think it's good that it's like that, honestly, because it allows you to maybe, hey, all of a sudden you're locked in. But then let's say if you're a high schooler, you're playing like travel baseball or something, you have a tournament, you go away for a week, it still allows you to come back in and be on it. So I think that's the way you guys set it up is the best way.
Yep.
Um, with if a kid was to go through it, what would be the number one thing that you as the creator can like look yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, he or she walked away with this?
What would the number one thing be? I want to make sure I understand your question. That I would be happy that they walked away with. Is
Yeah.
that, I have that
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay. Possibility.
Mm,
I want them to walk away knowing there's a whole bunch of possibility out there for them that they weren't aware of before they started this course.
I love that. I love that. Which is also keeping that mentality is going to allow you to have success later on in life. Because when you get into that fixed mindset of just, hey, this is kind of the cards I was dealt, this is my situation, keeping
Yep.
that possibility that, okay, no matter what is presenting itself to me, I can always go out, make more, do better, become better as an individual. So I
Yeah.
think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Um,
We talk about growth mindset and fixed
do you
mindset.
really? Oh,
Yep, that's
perfect.
in the course.
Perfect.
And yeah, and that's the main thing. If you come away with nothing else, then wow, there's way more possible in this life for me than I ever would have imagined. That sense of, maybe I can do more than I was led to believe I
Yes,
could do.
ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. A
Uh,
feeling of limitlessness.
what was that? You kind of broke up in that last
Yeah,
one.
that possibility and that feeling of limitlessness.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And again, that is something that if the parents are watching right now, that I would like them to somehow incorporate into their whole entire homeschooling experience. You know what I mean? Because if I I was smart enough to get good grades, like even when I went to college, I could buckle down and say, okay, I'm just gonna get straight A's this semester. So next semester I don't have to focus as much because I was playing baseball during the spring. But it's the schoolwork doesn't necessarily translate to success later on in life,
Mhm.
but it's the mindset that you kind of attack every single problem with. Because there'll be some semesters where I'll be like, okay, my intentions are to get straight A's this semester. And the
Mhm.
moment I could switch my attention and my intentions towards it, it would make a massive difference compared to when like, okay, well, now it's spring, we got the season. My intention is being the best baseball player I can possibly be this semester.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of inside of their journey, hey, let's keep our intentions and understand that, like you said, it's limitless the success you can have because
Yeah.
failure is not the stopping point. It's simply just the lesson that you have to get past.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. We talk about how to use failure. If you fail,
You really?
yeah, we talk about fail. You fail, basically, you fail your way forward. Uh,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
growth can't happen without it. Whole idea, right? So we touch on that. We do talk about focus too, and um, to the point you made a minute ago about what is your intention, and then
Mhm.
okay, if this is your intention, where is your attention? Is your attention on what your stated intention is? People can have intentions all day long, right?
Yep.
Good intentions. Wake up feeling fresh, cup of coffee, good to go. Here's my intention. But, by 10:30 a.m., their attention has been so far off track, right? It's on a million
Yes.
other things. So we talk about that and how to try to, state what that is, focus and stay on course in the course. It's so important. Learning to manage your focus is really important.
Okay. Well, let's kind of just stay on that real quick, and we'll be wrapping up here shortly, but I do want to kind of just expand there. So, if a kid's like me, he's ADHD, he's going to be staring out the window, he's going to be living in la la land, thinking about a bunch of different things. What are some things at a young age they can do to kind of train that skill of focus and attention if there's somebody like me that's naturally my brain's going to run
Yeah,
away if I don't keep it locked in?
yeah, yeah. So a kid like you, David, needs to have short spurts of intense focus. And
Hmm.
a parent, if you know your kid and you know that they're going to start doing, this and this and,
Yeah.
you know, I'm hungry or I got to go to
Yeah.
the bathroom or I got to, whatever. That's when that kid needs to get up and go burn some energy because
Love
with
that.
all of that energy and all of this going on, you need to honor it and go, all right, what do you need? 15 minutes, 20 minutes? Go do something physical. Go do
Love that.
something that
That's
helps
great.
you burn some energy, release some energy, and then kind of calm down and come back. And then, right, then we focus. But
Yep.
recognize you really have to kind of monitor you might have a kid that is easily able to they just love it. They immerse it and they can maybe go for an hour or two without, or three, without needing any kind of, you know, whatever break or diversion. Let them go. Great. But you have a kid that's, ADHD or just full of energy. I mean, especially young boys, they're full of energy. You got to honor that and go, all right, well, how about then you go and, we got a kick bag for you. Go kick the bag or go do some of the physical exercises as a family we all decided we're going to do.
Yep.
Or, go do some pull-ups, some push-ups. What is it you want to do right now to help you feel like you're burning energy? And honor that kid and let them go do it. Give them a time. Okay, what do you think you need? 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? What is it that works? You have to find the formula for each kid. It's like a recipe.
No, and I can back that up because, like I said, my brother and I, we are the same person when it comes to values, morals, but the way we operate is completely different. So when we're working on stuff like this, because we're still building our community, we're building a lot of it out. For me, working on a computer, it's hard. For him, he locks in. So we'll be working together on the dining room table. and then he'll look over and I'll be doing burpees. And he's just like, you're a psychopath, dude. And like, he doesn't need that. But just me stepping away for a little bit to just bang out some push ups, go even just to go outside with my dog for a second, like, it does make a massive difference where I can come back because there is times when I'm working and it's just like, I look at the computer, I'm like, wow, 15 minutes just went by and I accomplished nothing but thinking about what I wanted to do here.
What I'd rather be doing, right?
Yeah, so it's a matter of I think
Yeah.
that there's so much truth to that because it definitely helps me where I can just go boom, hit something real quick, and it's not like I'm doing a workout, it's just something to get me moving again, and then I can kind of sit back down, my brain kind of comes back. So I
Yeah.
think there's that what you said there was 100% true. So I'm living proof that that does work.
Yeah, good. I love that you said that. Yes. And you know what? You go outside, especially if you're in a climate or it's the time of year where you can go out even like barefoot, with your dog.
Mm, yep.
The sun and grounding
Yes,
will,
ma'am.
yeah, it's a magical spiritual vitamin that you get that just like brings you back to right homeostasis.
Without a doubt. And I'm known for actually going to play fetch with my dog at when the sun's set and do some sun gazing
Yeah.
barefoot, you know what I mean? And it really does work. If you could, for somebody that just is like, oh, what is that? Can you give like maybe a short explanation real quick before we kind of wrap up of what that actually is and does?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to do this because I'm not a scientist and I don't remember all of the actual technical scientific lingo, but there is evidence that grounding, which is the act of literally putting your bare feet on the ground, because
Hmm.
everything is energy. We are energy, the ground is, and we are surrounded though by a lot of what EMFs,
Hmm.
electromagnetic frequencies, and we get a lot of positive charge in our bodies. And even though the word positive makes you think that's something good, it's not. It's not. It dysregulates all of our cell function. So we're surrounded by EMFs with cell towers and cell phones and smart TVs and smart appliance, all this stuff. And then our feet never touch the ground because we wear shoes everywhere we go, right? So what's happening is we're swimming in that dysregulation all the time. And it is the source of a lot of health issues.
Yes, ma'am.
If we're grounding, what we're doing is putting our feet on the ground, the sand, the concrete, the water, the river, the ocean, and that process takes all of that, it neutralizes all that positive charge because the earth is negatively charged. That's why we ground our houses so that
Yep.
if struck by lightning, we don't all, right, perish. So, so the grounding has immense health effects for us. And it's why people go, you go for a walk barefoot on the beach and you just feel so calm. It's calming and it's energizing, but in a calm way, not a hyperactive way.
Hmm.
So there's a lot of wonderful benefits to grounding, and I would encourage people to look into it. We have grounding sheets. You can get grounding sheets and plug it into a grounded outlet and get that same action of the negative charge to rebalance your system. So there's a lot of ways that you can do that with products. If you're not in a place, if you live in the concrete jungle and you're not going out barefoot on the streets of New York, it's kind of, it can be difficult. So there are options if you don't live on the beach or, have a lawn with grass that you can walk around in or lay on.
Yes, ma'am. Now before we wrap up, where can they find the course? If they got some, I know you said you haven't launched the Facebook community. Whenever you do, let us know and we'll
Yeah.
push it out there for you. Um, and then anything else that maybe can kind of give them a bigger picture. I know you have a podcast, I believe, correct?
Yeah, the podcast is We're Talking Shift.
I like that. That's
Took
creative.
me a minute because it's been on hiatus. I've been so busy, I had to put it on hiatus a couple months ago. But yes, the podcast is called We're Talking Shift, and it is on, Spotify, Apple, all the platforms. Loree Bischoff YouTube channel. It's
Okay.
also there by name. The course is got a website. It's tlccourse.com. So
Okay.
Team Life Coaching, tlccourse.com. And there's also information and a link to it on my website, which is loreebischoff.com. So it's available. And anybody that has any questions or inquiries, they are certainly welcome to contact me, which they can do through social media or either of the websites. So yeah, it's we're excited. We're getting good feedback from the people that have taken their kids through it, and I'm excited for. I'm going to get the Facebook community up here pretty soon, and I will let you know. Thank you for that, offering that, and yeah, there we go.
No, I think what you guys are doing are absolutely wonderful. Everything we've talked about, I mean, I really think you guys can make a massive impact, help a lot of people, and it is such a critical age time frame to get those skills and that understanding that I think that like it's going to help a lot of people. So I really appreciate you coming on here talking with us. Miss Beth, before we go, do you have anything else you want to add in there?
That was it. Thank you for answering my questions. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, those were great questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, both of you guys. I loved our conversation, and I think what you're doing is really cool as well. It's really needed, and hopefully you're having really good success with it. I think the whole homeschooling and microschooling
Yeah.
trajectory is it's skyrocketing, and I think it's a really good thing. So the more resources you have to offer, I think the better.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, Miss Lori. Well, when you hop off, we'll go ahead and we'll do the intro. And thank you again so much for taking time to talk with us.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank
Thank you for
you.
having me. I
All
really
right.
enjoyed it. All right,
All right.
bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.